Greetings and salutations, gamers. Welcome to Cast Co-op, the podcast in which three podcast hosts cast together. I am one of your co-hosts, Luke Lore, the insipid ghost, joined by the elder man of the show, the Elden Lord himself, Mr. Ainsley Bowden, host
I don't
of...
know why you would call Joe old like that.
I wouldn't, Captain Project 2025. Hope you're doing well. How are you, Ainsley Bowden?
I am okay, man. It's been busy time since getting back from Summer Game Fest, man. I just haven't had a lot of time. I played the shit out of Shadow, and that's about it. But I'm doing well. Things are good. Ready to chop it up with you guys for the first time in however many weeks it's been.
Yeah, someone let us know how long it's been. It's been a minute, though. I feel it this time. Yeah.
It's been a long time. The man you hear speaking, of course, is Mr. Joseph Moran, host of the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast. Some call him Grimace. It's good to see you, sir. How are you?
I killed the Mets streak, and I'm proud of it, man. All right, let's just get the jokes out of the way. All right? Let's just get them out of the way.
What's going on over there?
All right, we've mentioned this on two podcasts already.
What? I haven't heard it yet. So what's happening? What is that? Why do you have the St. Louis arch on your head?
Well, that's I actually like that reference more. This is the Sony Pulse Elite headset that I've been wearing for months now, and oh boy, and I love these headsets. Legitimately, I think they're great. They sound great. The mic is really great. Like, I could play with the AC and no one hears me. It's great. Though the shape is peculiar.
I don't know. It looks familiar to many.
It makes me look very phallic.
Who do they think's head is shaped that way?
That's some Mark Cerny shit right there.
Yeah.
We want your ears. Give them to me.
Yeah. Now I have been shamed enough where, because like the reason why I'm podcasting with them is like my podcast headphones finally died after like 7-8 years. So like I'm in the shop for new headsets, and in the meantime, like I'll just throw these on. Now I've been shamed enough that even though I don't go outside with these, thank God, maybe I'm in the market for a new headset.
For the record, bullying works.
It does.
Like, it works.
Wow.
And I'm glad you're getting new headphones.
Nisa, send me some links to those. She says Amazon has some good ones. Send me some links. I God knows any.
You're on PS5, dude. Get the Maxwells and be done with it.
The Maxwells?
Yeah.
I don't know what he's talking about.
How much are they, though, dude?
They're $400.
Mister, I got the best up in my basement. It's like, they're just 400.
Yeah, Jesus
They're the
Christ.
best. I mean, what do you want?
Now,
they don't look like that. I can tell you that much.
I mean, fair. Can't really argue that. So
I recently did a mid-range unit for Turtle Beaches. I did a review for the Stealth 700s and sent those to Kevin Ainsworth. And that's a great headset. I think they're like 150. It was a good headset. Like, it's a great mid-range. I'm reviewing these SteelSeries Nova Pro wireless, and like they're great, but they're 350. Right. Like, go with a 150 for your pod. Like, I usually do a wired SteelSeries. Plug them in.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I have these Audio Technicas that like did wonders for me, and they were for podcasts and editing. And like they were only like $50-$60, and so they lasted 8 years. God bless them. You know.
Yeah, Audio Technica is a really good brand.
Yeah. That said, it also doesn't help that I'm partially sunburnt and my head's very bright red. It really just doesn't help with the imaging. So
I don't know, man. McDonald's needs to pay you more.
They really do.
The funny thing is the shirt matches the shade of Cast Co-op, which Ains is like right before we went live, and I was like,
he blends in.
Yeah,
he blends in.
But I'll give Joe due credit. He started working out again. He's going to the pool and swimming.
Hell yeah.
For you, man. Because it's hot as can be countrywide. So, like, and good for you for going to the pool.
And I'm getting sunburn, and it's 10 a.m. Like, you know, like it's not like I'm not going in peak hours. It's nuts out there, man. Please stay cool.
You'll start getting sunburned around 9:30. So after like it hits a certain point. So put on sunscreen, bro.
Well, I mean, you are pale white, dude. You know, you're a ghost. You're gonna burn at 5 a.m. in the morning.
The funny thing is, like, I've tanned a lot. Like, you can't see it on camera, but like I've gotten a lot tanner than I was.
Sure you do.
Wild. Like, I'll stick with the people that, and I'm like, they're like, "Oh, you're so tan." I'm like, "Thank you." It doesn't come in on the camera.
Sure it doesn't. Sure it doesn't. So, what are we talking about here, guys?
We're gonna talk about the fact that I put out a show with a thumbnail that said "Game Pass is unstoppable," and then a week later, Xbox is like, "We should raise the price on this." I was like, "Wait a minute." But like,
your next week's XEP should be Game Pass with a stop sign next to it.
Dude, okay, so Logan's hosting this week coming up because I'm going to visit, or Kevin and I are going to Busch Gardens this weekend. It was supposed to be our study trip. Shout out to Study, by the way. He's back in the hospital, so we're worried about him.
Make up your mind, man.
Like, yeah, do it or don't. Please don't do it. But like, so Logan has the show this weekend, and when he has the show, I try not to like poke. You know what I mean? Like, I want him to have like free ranks. You know, nobody wants like somebody lording over them. I didn't run it by the production team.
You didn't?
Yeah, no.
What about the social team that you guys have?
Yeah, we don't have a social team either. Damn. But I want it, the thumbnail. I want it to be like Game Pass, stoppable. Like, I want that to be it, but like I don't want to tell him, but I can do it. Yeah.
God bless.
Turns out it can be stopped.
Look at Kevin Ainsworth's comment. I don't have the ability to spotlight because I'm not a mod on this one, but Kevin Ainsworth at Save Game Media says, I had one that said Game Pass is amazing last week. It's like, yeah. And how can you not, though?
Bunch of shills, am I right, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, you're telling me,
really?
Man.
But how can you not? Like y'all, Kunitsugami, Flintlock, Still Wakes the Deep, Lords of the Fallen. What else is happening this month? There's an Tachia just launched, which I'm actually interested in Tachia. Like, that's not like because it's on Game Pass. Like, that looks like a fun, like, relaxing game. Like, Game Pass is firing on all cylinders. There's going to be good news at the end of this month, Xbox wise, which I think actually just now got leaked today. But like, we kind of knew that was coming. Was it yesterday? But we did know that was happening. Like, that was something that I knew about now. It's just like, oh my gosh, Game Pass is crushing it. And then they're like, we're going to raise the price, which justify it or not. And like, to me, we're at our max. $20 is the max, even though I get way more than that value. Like, I do use it. You can't go above $20. And it's like, man, you're not impulse buying anybody. This feels like, all right, I'm now gonna snag and squeeze the people that I know are committed, but I'm not bringing in new users. That's what it feels like. And it irks. It irks me.
Yeah, I think mass market $20 is the line. I agree with you there, because just dirty quick math, right? Like, every quarter, that's $60. They plan on releasing a first party big game every quarter, right? So that just seems to line up. And if you think about other subscriptions like the Netflixes and whatnot that are now up to like 23, I think, for like max. I can see actually Xbox going higher in the future, especially if they get their cadence right with game delivery, 25, even upwards of 30, because games in theory have more value than like movies.
Time investment wise, yeah.
Yeah, but Netflix, or we always go to Netflix, but most of the major services you pay for, right? Their cadence of content releases is ridiculous, right? Like, and the production that goes into those. So you can't say like they don't deliver on that front. But I think like Xbox has to maintain the big first party game per quarter cadence, and they have to maintain third party deals like you just mentioned, right? Keeping that service fresh. Bi-weekly, at least monthly, right? To get up into that realm. If you start going $20 and above and you break that cadence, or you just say, oh, it's a bad month or two, it's not going to work. You can't have a bad month or two when you're asking $20 to $30 a month. You just can't. So it's going to be all about game delivery. I personally don't mind paying that, because I get more value out of gaming than anything else. Right?
And you have a $400 headset, just lying around.
That's one of them. But
I can say
seriously though, like, I mean, I think that it just came at a weird time. Maybe you guys will touch on this too, but I think everyone said the same thing. Everyone has subscription fatigue, right? We're at that point. So I think people are also reevaluating what their monthly spend is across the board, and so that makes it even harder for Xbox to justify it. But
yeah. And if I could, so we're talking about, of course, the Xbox Game Pass price increase, just to give people an idea, because it is very confusing. Like this.
Oh yeah, their
I get
messaging on
lost.
this is bad. Yeah.
So you have Game Pass Core, which is $10 a month or $75 a year. You get online multiplayer, 25 games, member deals and discounts, and that's it. So that's akin to the welcome PlayStation Plus bundle when the PS5 came out. You have Standard, which comes with all that, and then Game Pass Catalog, which is hundreds of games. We don't know what games they are anymore.
Wait. Oh, you mean including the Game Pass catalog?
Right. It's everything we just mentioned.
Rotating,
Game Pass.
Yeah, that's just the rotating group of games.
Sure, but we don't know what that catalog is right now. Right?
Okay.
It's like, and like, does a flintlock a day one count in that new category, or is that saved for the Ultimate Edition? We'll get to it.
Right.
So
right.
then you have Ultimate, which comes with literally what we know Game Pass to be, which is, your monthly games and your day one drops in there as well, alongside with Xbox Cloud Gaming and EA Play and Riot Games. And then, last but not leastly, a $12 tier if you're on PC, which is just that. It's everything but cloud gaming. So
I got a lot of thoughts.
very weird, guys. Like, there's no way. Like, this chart was a very bad idea. I think the chart's more offensive than the price increase. Is that weird?
No, that's verbatim. What I wanted to point out is that this is an Xbox issue of messaging. They consistently have a messaging problem even with the price increase. To me, the value is absolutely there. Like it is well worth it for a gamer that enjoys variety and games regularly to have Game Pass if you have an Xbox. That is absolutely where the value is there. But the messaging, the tier system, the number of tiers, the spread between console and PC, it's all confusing in a way that, like, if you're going to say to somebody, oh, do you have Game Pass? Now you have to, like, articulate what you mean. At least, like, it should have been like a 1, 2, 3 system, or like Nick's Game Pass for PC. Like, blend it into one of them and just it works on PC or it doesn't. Don't call it Game Pass for PC or anything. Just Game Pass. Do you have Game Pass? And it's a unified thing, because now you're having to specify specifically which one you have, which one you want, which one gets what. And now there's question marks around what you get and don't get. And that's a bad thing if you're Xbox, especially when you're expanding into cloud markets, which, by the way, cloud gaming with games that you own, not just Game Pass, is very close, guys. It's close.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think, again, this chart is weird. It's really bad messaging. And it's just, and I don't want to, like, overreact. I've seen a lot of overreactions. I always say that, like, the Xbox community is very bipolar and sometimes even suicidal. Like, it's just 1 minute Xbox dead, 1 minute Xbox alive, 1 minute Xbox dead.
Fire Phil Spencer.
Exactly. Fire Phil Spencer. He's the best. He's my best friend. We talked on Halo once. Like, that bullshit that we hear constantly. It's just very, very confusing. And I think Jeff Grubb said it on Giant Bomb the other day, where it's 80% of users are on Ultimate to begin with. So this is just a flat out price increase. And I don't know, it does seem like they are very much, now that they have all these publishers, moving away from the day and date on Game Pass model as not something that they are going to be focusing on.
Why do you say that? All these publishers?
I mean, Activision, Bethesda, it does seem like, now that they have Call of Duty here, they're like, okay, so we have Call of Duty, and we can't really mess with that math all too much because it makes a ton of money. They're afraid to disrupt it. So they're like, how about before we launch Call of Duty and before we put more Activision Blizzard games on here, we raise the price of this subscription service to an amount that hurts us less and also doesn't totally disincentivize people from not buying Call of Duty. Because that is still the main point of how they're going to make so much money from ABK is people purchasing and being a part of the Call of Duty ecosystem. So to me, it really is just the move of Xbox to say, listen, this isn't the bread and butter like we once thought it was. It's still going to be something that they're going to tout and talk about for sure. It just, to me, the flow charts that we've seen here very much shows that they're changing with the times. It's no longer the growth model of like when it was, $11-12 to begin with. Now it's like, okay, we have these users, it's not growing much, so now we have to start charging. It has to start making more on that investment.
I don't think, and Ains jump in, I don't think Microsoft, Xbox, whatever, I don't think you're losing a lot of money at all by putting COD on Game Pass for Xbox, because there's not a lot of Xbox players compared to PC and PlayStation by comparison. So I don't think you're actually losing much in that one. I think you're losing it potentially in the Game Pass for PC realm. Right. But on Xbox, the user base is smaller. I don't know. Ains, does that make sense to you or no?
I mean, it's definitely smaller. I don't think anyone's arguing that, right? We know that Xbox has the smallest user base of the three. But when you're talking about a game that sells about 30 million copies a year, still probably several million copies, right? Or at least a few million copies at a bare minimum. I don't know. I know we've talked about this a little bit, and I know all the focus is always like kind of on Call of Duty for good reason. And I think this is that moment we talked about a little while ago where they just said, we have to do this, right? We're all in. Whether or not the Call of Duty move actually makes them or loses them money long term, they couldn't not do it. There could be projections showing that they expected to lose a little money at the current pricing structure. Maybe that's why they're doing this now. Maybe, the other thing I was thinking about is we like to have these conversations as if these decisions are made in a vacuum and things are lined up a certain way, right? Like to your point, Joe, around like the games are coming, or the games are coming, the publishers are there, the subscribers are flattening at least to some level, even though we know Game Pass is still profitable. They've been clear about that. But it could have been this decision was made months ago. There's lots of things that have to be done internally to roll out these types of changes, right? Yeah. So they might have had a date to say July 10th is when we'll roll out the pricing changes for new customers, September 12th for old customers or existing customers, and that will line up with our announcement. We'll announce Modern Warfare 3 a week prior and get it in the service, and then we'll get the rest of Call of Duties, etc. They might have planned that like a quarter ago or 6 months ago, whenever. And the dates might have not lined up. There can be all sorts of reasons things don't happen as they planned. So I think my opinion is that they plan to have Modern Warfare 3 announcement already out, either in the service or recognized to go along with this price increase. But regardless, I think it goes back to what we've talked about a long time now. It's just that after the showcase we just had, and let's not forget, because you just said the Xbox community they have the shortest goldfish memory in the world, right? It's just like you can make them super happy one day and then the next day they're ready to jump off ship. They just had an incredible showcase. One of the best, all of us, well, not all, but most agreed, one of the best showcases we've seen in a very long time, if not ever, right?
I would say it's one of the best of all time.
Yeah. So you come off that showcase, you have multiple things coming out this year, right? You got Avowed, you got Indiana Jones, you now have Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Those are big releases. Well, at least obviously Call of Duty is, but you have this momentum post Summer Game Fest or showcase. I mean, just feels like the right time, right? And if they do it now instead of 3 months from now or 6 months from now, that's a lot of additional revenue once you extrapolate the math out, right? So I don't think any of it's surprising. I don't think any of it's necessarily negative. I'm kind of surprised by, maybe I shouldn't be, but I'm kind of surprised at some of the negative reactions I'm seeing as if this is like the end of the world. It's $3 a month. I mean, $3 a month, and people are like, but they haven't demonstrated any additional value. It's like, what are you talking about?
And I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, they just spent $80 billion on one of the largest publishers. You're literally getting, never mind Call of Duty, but Diablo 4 is in the service now, right? Like you're getting this huge publisher of games and all these other games and all the investment. We've talked about that too. All the investment into their already existing studios that are now going to deliver these games that we just saw at the showcase. What do you mean you're not getting anything more for your value, like for $3 a month? What are you talking about? Like, it's confusing to me. Sorry, that was kind of all over the place. But
I appreciate it. That's why, like, to me, listen, I don't like the news. I'm not a fan of any price hikes. Like, you know, whether it's Xbox doing it, PlayStation doing it, whatever. I don't care. You know, I don't like them. That being said, though, to people going like, this is the end of Xbox in itself. This is the end of, you know. It's just like a more hyperbole. Like, it's just like, it's a bunch of, it's like, no, this is a bad move. It's going to hurt the consumers. No one, to me, when I hear people go like, we were expecting this, it's like, yeah, we're all expecting it. But like, I don't have to be happy just because I was expecting it. Right.
No, of course not.
So for me, I'm like, that's not a good defense. Yeah. What am I getting out of it? Theoretically, if you really like Call of Duty and if you like Blizzard titles, you're getting a lot out of it. But if you're not a fan of Call of Duty or like Blizzard titles, yeah, I can understand your frustration as to why it's raised again twice in you know, what is it, a year now, right? They did this back in 2023. So like, I understand the frustration. I understand why people are disappointed. I don't think this is the death knell of Microsoft. I just think this is one of the many steps of the evolution of what company Microsoft is becoming. And I think a lot of it comes and stems from, let's be frank here, every Xbox influencer expected something totally different out of this deal and expected a Microsoft that was going to withhold stuff from their competitors and not put them on the service, right? They were expecting a more bullish, competitive Microsoft. And I think the realization is, no, that's not what this market is anymore, nor even was. And so I think it's a lot of mis-expectations or mismanaged expectations from people that contribute to the console war narratives. It's, you know, yeah.
Sorry, I'm doing it again. I always think you're done, and then
no, go for it.
So sorry. I was going to say, let me put a theory out to you guys, because I was thinking about this too.
A game theory?
It's more of an opinion than a theory, but my opinion is that, and this is, you know, I'm not trying to sound like a shill. It's people are going to call me a shill. My theory is that my view is that Game Pass has been underpriced for some time.
Yes.
And it's been underpriced to grow the service, right? Yep. We've talked a lot about that. Now, this is the correction. This is getting Game Pass to where it should be priced at based on what they've invested in. So I would say you're now paying for what's coming, right? And they have to prove that. I think we all agree, right? But we just saw a bunch of it, right? A month ago. We know what's coming this year. We know there's a bunch of other things we didn't mention that are coming. And plus, there's going to be other third-party deals that we don't know about, like the Flintlocks, et cetera, right? And that's good value right there, like Luke was saying. But I think the only thing I would push back on, Joe, is outside of Activision Blizzard, right? I think the comment you just said is like, if you love Call of Duty, it's great, right? Or Diablo 4, those Blizzard games. But one thing I think that gets overlooked, two things I think that get overlooked. One is that the investment, like I said, into their existing studios. There's been huge investments into In Exile, Playground Games. You know, I'm tired, dude. State of Decay studio.
Right.
You know, all those studios, right? And so we saw State of Decay 3 looks incredible, much grander scale than we ever saw before, right? Clockwork Revolution shaping up to be fantastic. South of Midnight looks fantastic. Compulsion, another one. So you don't get those games without Xbox investing into those studios, growing that talent and growing those studios, right? That the revenue has to come from somewhere, right? And Game Pass is their revenue machine at this point, or their focus, I should say, right? So that's one. The other thing, and I posted it on Twitter, you guys probably saw this about this, is the thing I don't think Xbox gets enough credit for in this space as well, is the fact that when I sub to Game Pass Ultimate, right, I get those games on cloud, PC, and console. I can play them anywhere I want, and my profile, my saves, cross-play for 95% of the games is all there. It's a unified platform, right? And I play Forza, I play Halo, I play Diablo, I play all these games, both on console and PC, and I jump back and forth as much as I want. On, not to point the finger at PlayStation, but on PlayStation, you don't get any day one releases, or very few, minor stuff. Even if you're on the premium tier. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe. You know better than I do. But
you get some, but it's like indie stuff.
Yeah, smaller games, right? You don't get day one releases. And on PC, you're rebuying the game at full price a year later or 2 years later. You know what I mean? So I think, again, I just think from a value perspective, they don't get enough credit for what they're doing. And I think maybe that's why I'm a little annoyed at okay, it went up $3, but no one's looking at what you're getting for that money. You know what I mean? I get your point of no one likes price increases on subscriptions. We're seeing it. I think Spotify has gone up ridiculous in the past year. Yeah, it's like $20 just for family plan or something. I don't know, but it's crazy. And I'm just for what I'm getting for that money, when you think about what they've built and what they've invested in, I don't know, man. It's hard to argue to me.
So I was thinking about that value of it's $20 a month, right? But I did a little mini experiment, and I, off the top of my head, mind you, I'm an Xbox content creator, but I wrote down the games I knew were coming to Game Pass this year, just to the end of the year. And off the top of my head, I wrote down Avowed, Stalker 2, Indiana Jones, Call of Duty, Age of Mythology, Creatures of Ava, Diablo expansion, Starfield expansion. That's a lot of games. Just off the top of my head, that are first party or first party adjacent, and
you get to, not to interrupt you, also get a discount if you buy the games.
Correct. And so the value, like we often say, Game Pass is the best deal in gaming. It still is, but because of I think subscription fatigue and inflation and the little jab that when you spend X amount of dollars, Ains, you don't know about this, but for the rest of us, past a certain point, it stings more. Like my wife and I do not have children. We both paid off college. We both work full time and then
brag about it, dude.
But
he says he works full time. You working right now, Luke?
What's that? What are you talking
about? Yes.
Yes,
that was good. That was good.
But even with summer work, for anyone that doesn't know, I'm a teacher, so they're laughing at me.
Yeah, I'm just giving him shit.
Context.
It was a joke. No,
he doesn't believe teachers should get paid full price.
That's true.
But my point
he's made a whole list about things that shouldn't exist anymore.
The Department of Education. Let's just get rid of that. We don't need it.
Rounding up certain individuals. It's all on this website, Project 2025.
It's my website. Look at the three of us. You don't think it's Ains?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's Ains' website. Yeah. It's his super PAC. What is it called? It's Heritage?
Privileged position for the majority of people, right? Extremely privileged position. That $20 a month stings because it's $20 a month. At 15, it was sweet. But it's still
on top of all the other $20 per month things, right? They're like needles. You know what I mean? And it adds up.
And that's the one thing I was trying to stress on the trophy room. Because
what's the trophy room?
It's a PlayStation podcast made by the place for the place. It's one I host each and every Wednesday night with my best friend Kyle. Don't you know? But when I brought when I told Kyle, I was like, listen, we have a bunch of questions about it. They want the audience wants to hear our thoughts. He's like, all right, God damn it, fine.
I wrote in.
I'm like, yeah, exactly. You wrote in too, and my take on it is, listen, again, sucks. Yeah, I feel that $20 real bad, but at the end of the day, can we not imagine ourselves back in 2008 when you were interested in a game, but you didn't know if that game was going to be good. And you'd either have to, rush over to a Blockbuster that may or may not have it, and it may or may not work when you get home.
Game Pass at Blockbuster. It was $20 a month to rent any game unlimited whenever I wanted to.
And like same with like GameStop, you walk in, you try to buy a used game. God knows, if you get the artwork with it. Gaming, I think we also forget how much more accessible gaming is. No matter your subscription of preference, like you can still have a bevy of games, hundreds of them, whether it's Xbox or PlayStation, that you get to play with the risk of whatever money that you're putting in that month for it, if you want to. Right. So like, yeah, Flintlock is a game that I am on the fence about. If I owned an Xbox, I would feel comfort going, well, you know what? I could try it out. And if I don't like it, whatever. it's a $20 investment. So at the end of the day, I feel like, yeah, these subscription services, I get it. We all have the fatigue and they are getting more and more expensive. And we do have to do our due diligence of like, what we're watching that month, and should we keep Netflix for the month if we're not watching Squid Game or whatever.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it has opened the door for so many more people to experience games, and broken down barriers for people to try different games.
Correct.
And I think what we try to maybe it's in the echo chamber, but we try to stress how, oh my God, it is a great deal. And it's still the best deal in video games. But it also still speaks to a very small portion of gamers, which is the folks that are tuning into the show, us that are talking about them. It's for the hardcore gamer. And I think when Xbox envisioned Game Pass, I don't think they envisioned games like, Fortnite, Call of Duty, Minecraft, well, maybe Minecraft, but like to still be these huge juggernauts of time sinks.
Nobody's breaking that top 10.
Yeah, free to play juggernauts.
Yeah,
it's the key. That's the key.
Wasn't it like? Isn't it weird? And I'm asking. I'm not like making a point. But didn't Sea of Thieves like break PlayStation's top 10 and like get in there and it stays?
Yeah, it did.
Like huge. Because how? Right?
I don't know why, but
God, you're such a negative Nancy. Sometimes.
Let's pause this conversation for 1 second because I feel we need to shout out our friend Suddy here.
That's right.
So,
my boy,
cheers to you, Suddy, man. I hope you're doing okay. You guys know what's going on far better than I do, but we
love you, buddy. We love you.
Yeah,
I'll raise your kids.
You don't want that. Jesus.
Do it. I'll take Jackson under my wing.
They'll have antennas on their head like Joe right now.
I'm gonna give the little guy this headset. Yeah.
So there's a couple comments. Get your guys' thoughts on. So I kind of pointed this out at the start, but GTA Driver 1 says $240 a year, which math checks out. Yeah, that's right. Which, like I said, $60 a quarter, right? With the expectation that
when you say
when you say that, when you say $240 a year, but again, that's games are $70. Right, if you buy them now, plus tax, depending on where you live, of course. So you're basically paying $60 a quarter. So if you're getting one big game per quarter, you're technically that you would have bought, of course, that you actually would have paid for. You're still saving money with Game Pass. Now, I think what is certainly fair is Sam's comment, which is the consumer has to feel the value. Most people don't play every game. Of course, very fair. Sure. But I think that also calls out, I think, and Xbox has probably done this to themselves. Tell me what you guys think, of course. Game Pass is not Xbox. Xbox is not Game Pass. Game Pass is a option. It's an option in the ecosystem. You can treat Xbox just like you do Nintendo or PlayStation and ignore Game Pass entirely. You do not have to engage with it. You can buy the games you want to buy, play it just like anything else. In fact, you still, when you buy a lot of first-party games, you still get them on Xbox and PC, which is still a better value than the other two primary competitors. But I think there's this weird thing where it's like, but Game Pass isn't the right value for me. It's like it doesn't have to be. It's just an option.
Yeah, and I think two things. No one's putting the gun to your head going, subscribe for the whole year. Like, I don't know if we're taking into account the people that are going to be gone for 6 months, right? And maybe pick it back up for a month or two. But I think again, I heard the number is like 15% of like Xbox's profit is through Game Pass, but it's also just so much of their identity. And I think with this price increase goes in damages or tarnishes, because Elden Ring on the brain, that identity of what Xbox is, because so many of us go, oh, Xbox Game Pass, right? And we
which they wanted.
We don't realize. And again, yeah, that's what they wanted.
That's
and now I
yeah.
feel like that is what they are going to start changing now. Getting people more accustomed to like, yeah, this option's here and it's great. You can also buy the game.
Yeah.
Call of Duty was a lot of money. Yeah.
We've got a super chat from Machine XP, $5 super chat. Let me bring this down so you guys aren't hidden. Machine XP, $5 super chat. Xbox's sub tiers are now where they should have been, in my opinion. More online, I think he means in line, more in line with PS Plus, except Xbox's top tier subscription, Ultimate, is actually incredible. I would assume because he's referring to what we talked about before, which is day one game launches and PC and Xbox at the same time.
Yeah.
And cloud.
It is.
Play cloud.
It is like we had this one question on the trophy room last night of like, was it a smart idea for PlayStation to skip day and date on their subscription service? And my answer was because they never needed to. They
had no games in 2024.
Well, not just well, like the day that God of War doesn't sell like 11 million units in 3 months is the day that they start considering their options. But like they were never in a position to even entertain the idea. And even when they did run experiments on like things like Horizon, they saw that they lost a lot of money when they did that. So, they saw that it wasn't in the cards for them. And right now what we're seeing here is like Xbox, course correcting what the previous year's cost was definitely when Game Pass first started. That was definitely a growth, get people in the door, fire sale almost. We don't care, stack how many years you want on it. We want you in this ecosystem so that when your games or your subscription stops stacking, you go, well, I still like this subscription service. Fine, whatever, it's $20. So that's just, I think, the thing that is kind of lost on folks. It's still an incredible deal. It's kind of like, to me, when games went up $10 and everybody threw a fit, and it's like, inflation, these $60 for a while. I understand why it's going up $10, but I don't really get what I'm truly getting out of it. The value isn't there, right? And so that's what we're seeing here with the subscription service. Very similar to me. It's like, games went up $10. This is going up $3. Okay. And it's a little bit more expensive, but is this the end of Xbox? No, come on.
God, it's so silly when people.
It's very annoying. Machine XP, thank you for the super chat, man. For anyone out there who hangs out with us on the SG shows too, next weekend, not the plug right in the middle of the show. Next weekend, I have the Extra Life event here in Kansas City that I'm going to be part of and going to, meeting children. That we've raised money for.
They allow you near them
in the hospital.
Good for you, buddy. You were on that registry for a long time.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Wow.
And these guys, any of the super chats, this show and Bitcast this weekend, actually, I'm just going to put to Extra Life for the year as well.
He moved out of Drake's house.
It's good for him, man. I'm glad.
That's good. I'm glad.
And just to piggyback on that, Ains, any super chat or channel memberships that you have towards the Xbox expansion pass go towards me, and I will possibly get Joe a headset. That's a possibility.
No,
honestly, listen.
Shout out to Ray, by the way. Thank you, Ray.
Headset. God,
Thank you, Ray.
so ugly.
Listen, I hate cancer. Cancer shouldn't exist, especially like when it riddles like kids. It's awful, but also this headset's really bad. So I kind of need a new one,
No, Ains, will you make sure when you do start doing that, send that for Extra Life, not Luke. Love it. Sam, you're awesome, buddy. Ains, will you make sure you send that to us so we can ping it on our socials and stuff, bud?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a cool thing. Like, it's a 4-day event. It starts Thursday. And there's like tournaments and games and like hundreds and hundreds of people and organizations. And I was one of the top 12 money raiser. So I'm getting like an esports jersey, and I get to hang out with the crew, and it'll be fun. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's nice. That's so neat.
Sam, shout out $10 super chat for Extra Life, not Luke.
You're awesome.
Sam, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you.
It's valid.
You're awesome.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, do you want to give that Addy? Give Addies real quick.
Ade. We say Ade, yes.
No. We say Addy on XCP.
Oh,
He
sorry.
said it was okay. He said it was okay.
Okay, yeah. I've messed up his name about 500 times. So
Really?
he told me to just use Ade. Yeah, Ade. Sorry.
Awesome
brother.
supporter of all our shows. I will say that.
Yes, big time supporter, long time supporter. 20 quid, man. Thank you very much. I'm a doctor. Happy to see people help kids. Absolutely, dude. Extra Life's actually one of the most fun things I do every year, raising money for that. I don't even really like streaming. I do it literally just to raise the money for the kids.
Oh, that's nice.
So, yeah, it's good stuff.
You're
So
awesome.
thank you very much, man. Appreciate you.
Ains has done a lot of bad in his
Stop
life.
it.
And he's just trying to make do. You know, he's just trying to right the wrongs.
That's actually not too far off the truth, but not with kids. Nothing to do with kids.
Well, I didn't say that.
You guys gotta believe me. The thing that I think Xbox needs to work on, there are two continuous stutter steps that I think they have that continuously fail them. And it has almost nothing to do with games, because I feel like they've nailed hardware this generation. They really have, I think, done a good job with games, and clearly after the showcase, they've been working, right? That just the amount of like where COVID hit is where it hit, right? It stutter stepped them as an industry, our industry, but them as a company especially. But I think they struggle mightily with getting the message out of the good things that they do, because they have consistently done things well and gotten things right for so long. You guys are awesome, chat. For so long, but they don't necessarily tell people in the best ways. Meanwhile, PlayStation's been riding the incredible coattails of, I think, Sean Layden, and as that's dried up, the intended pivot, the recent pivot, just didn't arrive at the right time. But people don't yet know. And so I think Xbox, for all the good they do internally, they just struggle to communicate that to those outside of our ecosystem, right? To those that don't have an Xbox, to sell it to somebody, to sell Game Pass to someone that isn't watching a podcast. I think they struggle with that. And I kind of got that vibe even from meeting with them in LA, right? Like they were asking, did you like Hellblade? And it's like, I loved it. But does anybody else know it even came out? You know?
Yeah, no. It's very odd. It feels counterintuitive, right? It almost feels like on one hand they want Game Pass, to Joe's point, to be the end all, basically the entry point into Xbox. That's what it wanted to be. And on the other hand, to your point, Luke, when they do have these games that come out that should be kind of mile markers for them, or milestones, whatever word you want to use, it's like, does anyone outside of the hardcore community even know about it? Like, it's anecdotal, maybe. We don't really know, but it feels that way for sure.
Yeah. I think that's just the other.
And
the other thing that does suck about Xbox, their communication there when they promote a game. You know, Aaron, I don't need to see the list of like itinerary to prove to me that you're promoting Hellblade. I need to see Hellblade. And the fact that I saw one banner on a Reddit page for Hellblade 2, damn, dude, that sucks. It definitely feels like they try to do the thing that Netflix does, which is like, hey, if a show's good, it's going to do the marketing for it. And I just don't think that works. It works for games, but it doesn't at the same exact time. Games are still different. They still need to be promoted and shown off and showcased and, promoted on where gamers are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's weird because the environment's weird too right now in gaming, and it's changed a lot even in the past 5 years, right? Even since these consoles have launched, it's changed a lot. Yeah. And I think you look at something like Helldivers, which, facing its own kind of decline now, but just generally speaking, social media can play a big role. And I think those social games, right? The games that can live in a community that kind of spread in co-op or multiplayer, etc. Pal World and Sea of Thieves on PlayStation, those types of things. can do that. But for single player experiences, I think it's a little different, unless you're, again, I always say this word anecdotal because it's just what we feel. We don't really know, but it just feels like unless you really kind of break that 90 Metacritic, super high regarded type game, your Elden Rings, etc. You're not breaking through that barrier because just the fight for time. And I know Matt Piscatella points this out all the time in the data, which is just the black hole that the top 10 to 15 games are in the world, right? The Fortnites, the Apexes, the Sieges, etc. We talk about it all the time. They suck. These top live service games suck so much time out that to pull people away from that is really tough outside of that hardcore community. So it's just I wouldn't want to be in charge of it. I can tell you that because I can imagine trying to figure out the logistics is a nightmare. One thing.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No,
well, there's a comment in chat that I was going to spotlight when you get a chance.
Okay. I don't know if it's the same one. Go ahead.
Your point.
Which
go
one?
Good.
Well, Playa mentioned we hadn't commented specifically on Game Pass Standard, which is the new one that's coming, which definitely does feel odd because what this is doing, and tell me if I have this wrong, but I literally have it up from Xbox, so I think I have it right. Game Pass Standard is available in the coming months. This is directly from Xbox's site. Says, we create a Game Pass to offer places more choice in how they deliver games. That includes offering different pricing and plans, blah, blah, blah. A new Game Pass option, Xbox Game Pass Standard, will become available for $14.99 a month in the coming months. And what we understand about this is that it's core, where you get online multiplayer and kind of your Xbox Live, what used to be kind of gold, I guess, right? And then you get a portfolio of some games, but you don't get day one launch. Do I have that right?
I gotta pull up this stupid ass chart. Give me a second.
Exactly. Shout out to Cloverreal, who did the hard work.
And as usual, I think we did this with PS Plus at the time. If we don't know the details of how this works, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because your average Joe is not going to know. But so Rob says yes. So again, someone else pointed this out earlier too, but I think the whole requiring a paid thing for online multiplayer really needs to go away.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's just got to go away. There's got to be a better option. Maybe you couldn't have combined core and standard into one thing. You know what I mean? That should be one thing.
I think
because now what you're saying is $10 a month to play online, $15 a month to play online, and you'll get some games, but not when we talk about day one launch. That's not you.
Yeah. And we don't know when those launches will come to this service or this part of the service.
And you can't tell people either, Joe, because if you tell them, they're going to be like, well, I'm going to wait 6 months.
Exactly.
I'll wait the 3 months. And PlayStation does a good job of pulling in their stuff into PlayStation Plus X amount of months later. But they also exit titles.
It down. Yeah.
Yeah, they exit titles out, which Xbox, Game Pass is flooded with games. And then for someone like me, I play a lot of games across several genres, and sometimes I dabble in other genres. And Game Pass lets me dip my toe in when I'm not, willing to make a financial investment past my subscription. But there are so many games there that I'm sure I've missed games that I would love because they don't curate. Remember the first marketings of Xbox were 100 plus games, and really they had 300. Now you're bumping into the fours, and it's do we really need the 360 copy of Brothers Tale of Two Sons in there? Do you? I don't know if you. Maybe you're getting it pennies on the dollar. Fine, but when I see 4 tiers of Game Pass between core, standard, ultimate, and PC, it's you need to nix one of them, and I would nix PC and just and then retool a couple things. But I agree with you. Don't pay for online.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's so much a part of it too. As much as I would like not to pay for online, it's the way that they force you into the door, right? Both PlayStation and Xbox. It's the way they force you into the door to make you a part of this ecosystem. So it shouldn't be. Honestly, core should be standard, but it's just weird messaging. It very much does seem like Xbox's answer to PlayStation Extra. It's weird. Again, I'm more upset about the chart than I am about like the price increase. It just seems overly convoluted, so that you just go, all right, F it, I'll buy Ultimate.
Yeah, I think Xbox and PlayStation both should just have 2 tiers. You know, you have an entry tier and a high end tier. That's it.
Yep.
Like, I don't know why we had to do this. It's very odd.
I think you would sell more core and ultimate, just core ultimate, right? And PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Platinum, done. Like,
yep,
I like it. I like it.
I literally said it on the show last night. It's like if I was in charge, I'd totally delete the shit out of the premium tier and just make it, the extra tier. So,
and how do you not call it platinum? Like,
I know,
come on, you literally. People have shows named after trophies, as dumb as that is. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's, no.
Okay. All right.
I do want to quickly call out. We're going to go back to that comment, Ains, because you ripped into your incredible gaming brethren last night on your Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. Achievements and trophies are fun, okay?
Yeah,
they're fun. People like them.
Okay.
And you're out there just poo-pooing anybody that didn't like the platinum for Shadow of the Erdtree. Shout out to Bacon.
Well, there's no trophy.
He doesn't know.
Oh.
My point is, he was poo-pooing it.
Let me get the super chat from Debbie W, one of our regulars as well. Always very, very supportive of the channel, both ours and Hoag's, actually. $20 super chat for the kids. I have a PC Ultimate as well and regularly use it to try a game out. I love that I can co-op with my 9-year-old while they're on Xbox and I'm on PC. Exactly. Yeah, it's fantastic. That's a great part of the ecosystem. Keep Ultimate, have Core and Ultimate, as Luke said, and just move on. Like, I don't know.
It's also like the fascination that Xbox is going, like, again, it's like the hype cycle. It's like, this is the move that Xbox overtakes PlayStation. Like, this is the thing that's going to convince the masses.
Who's saying that?
Every other Xbox creator, Luke. Like every time they talk about it, there's like a PlayStation lens of like, how do we get ahead of these guys, right? And you know who, Luke? You know.
I haven't seen it, but I'm sure I can.
You know the people
making
that are
tens of billions of dollars in revenue. They're fine.
And like
both of them are fine.
Right, and I think it's those narratives that really drive these conversations to lean to the toxic end, because again, Xbox isn't going anywhere, neither is Game Pass. It just costs a little bit more. And listen, if that's too much for you, awesome, leave. I know I did, but like, if it's not too much for you and you love the service, keep on playing it. Like, you don't need to.
Dan got rid of all his stuff. Dan hasn't been on Game Pass for like a year and a half.
Well, apparently he did. No, apparently he re-upped because of the Fire Stick stuff. But then,
he did. He was playing that.
So I can't wait to hear his thoughts on season.
He said it works well. He was using it the other day. I forgot about that. Yes,
cloud gaming does work well. I'm telling you, I started Lords of the Fallen on my phone and played hours.
Why do you keep playing games on your phone?
Yeah,
you're home, right?
This is the same story. I think I told you. Right? I was at my in-laws. Remember?
Okay.
It's the same story, but like, I started that game and like those Souls-likes
That's
are
cool.
Cool. Like that's how I started it, right? And so I think cloud gaming is not nearly the 2019 version that it once was, right?
Yeah. Agreed.
Now, Aid would say, "Who is Joe listening to?" LMFAO. Every single Xbox podcast. Like, I don't know. They're not speaking of. I mean, not yours. But the ones with the 6 panelists. Yeah. Like, let's not kid ourselves.
I think the part that I don't quite
hold on 1 second, guys. Sorry.
Have we been on well, maybe he's not on Twitter.
I'm taking this super chat down. I just wanted to say thank you again to WW. Thank you, Debbie. Yeah. Appreciate you.
I do want to, like, the idea of looking at PlayStation, looking at PlayStation through the Xbox lens and looking at Xbox through the PlayStation lens is so dated. That doesn't mean it doesn't throw, like, I do that too, but like then reality kicks in and I'm like, wait, we just saw not 3 months ago or less, and I can't remember if it was Matt Pescatella or GamesIndustry.biz, but it was one of the established financial analysts. It was Xbox. They broke down the money. Xbox made money. PlayStation did not, right? And on the user experience, like, Spider-Man 2, God of War 2, having great single player games, but the monies being made are different. Like, Xbox is okay. They're doing just fine. And that's the part that I think we forget. When I look at PlayStation, I don't look at them as like Xbox has to overtake them. Really what I want is a healthy and more competitive market, because when I tell my students that like, yeah, I game, they're like, are you on Xbox or PlayStation? I'm like, oh, I main on my Xbox. They're like, Xbox sucks, PlayStation's better. It's like, bro, you're not spending any money in there. And what are you playing? Fortnite. What do you care? Like, that's not a box argument. Like,
yeah.
I think he's attacking his students right now, Joe. You hear this?
I'll fight them. I'll lose. They're strong. Athletic. It's crazy. But like, I'm
because of this beautiful controller right here. That's all.
Is it because most of the Steam users are using Xbox controllers?
Well, these dumb idiots, they've been gaming for decades on a mouse and a keyboard, click clacking their ways.
Xbox is the more ergonomic controller. It still is to this day. I mean,
but I guess the bigger point I'm making is the companies don't look at each other that way, clearly. Right? Like, otherwise, their moves would be very different. They would be much more reactionary to one another. And it's just, I guess I'm confused just by that nature of like, well, this is how Xbox is going to win. It's like, bro, they're winning. They're still in the fight. They entered into a market of games competition with a box that was pretty wild with the first Xbox, and they're still around.
Love that damn console. Still one of my favorites.
It's pretty crazy. Like, they had a hard drive and an Ethernet port, and it was
hell yeah. It was awesome.
Didn't sell more than 6.
And I love that console. And never once did I ever think about how many...
It sold more than 20 million. What are you talking about?
I love that you took offense there. The PlayStation 2 sold like 140.
Yo, I go to bat for Xbox One, man. That's my console.
I'm sorry. Do you mean Xbox One or the first Xbox? I'm sorry. I don't know.
And we go back to
bat for Kinect too. We want to do this? Kinect was awesome.
Oh, sure. Advocate for Kinect, where you put the microphone directly under the TV speaker. It made no sense.
Yeah, no, I love the OG Xbox, and I love the Duke controller. I'll go to bat for that controller too.
20 years ago, it was okay.
Yeah, I have the Hyperkin redesign, and so I picked it up. And I was like, "This sucks."
Oh, go to hell.
You know, I've said this before. You know, the goofiest thing about that controller, besides all the other goofy things about it, is the buttons are like they're like this. They arc. So if you push them over and over again, it fucking hurts your thumb.
Yeah,
like they're not even like flat. Like it's so funny.
Yeah, like the black and white buttons were like jelly beans. Like it was. It was such a weird controller, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Ains, I was complaining to Joe and Kev and Logan. We were playing COD earlier, and this is that you're gonna laugh at me, but like, I'm not a weight room person. So this past year I've been doing a lot more weights. Well, I'm in the weight room a couple days a week now with for summer training, and my hands hurt. And so to go from weight room to come and try and play controller, I'm like, ow.
No, they will, because you're those tendons aren't used to kind of doing that repetitively. Yeah.
And so I was just thinking, I was like, maybe a bigger or like a different controller. And it's just like, no, my hands just hurt. But I was thinking about those Hyperkin.
Definitely get some hand grips too if you're not using them. You don't have to. We're not lifting 800 pounds with chalk. Get some hand grips. That helps.
Well, I look cool. Look, the kids will make fun of me. They're in high school.
He's seeking high school kids' approval.
I've got to make fun of this
I think he was projecting when he was talking about me and kids, because kids are coming up an awful lot with this guy over here right now.
Y'all. Okay.
All right.
So he's dumb idiots. So we're pulling up for our training, which is we had the weight room at 12 at noon. And at football was just getting out. This one kid was driving around his golf cart. He's like 15, driving this golf cart around. And he was on his phone, shirtless, thinking he was tough, whatnot. He was looking down. He slammed it full speed into a wall. And like everybody turned and saw, like watched it, was like, oh my gosh. And he like, first thing, is he okay? Yes. And he was trying to act tough and was like, oh, it's crazy. And then like he looked, he did like $6,000 worth of damage to the golf cart. It bent the axle and the tire was bent out, and he didn't own it. He was driving it and somebody else. And I was like, that's a lesson. It's a good thing you learned.
Everyone learns.
Yeah,
Mr. FBI man, I don't know who Luke Lore is. I don't know why he's hanging out with all these kids. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So are we okay with now, like Xbox's price? Like, are we
price
all
hikes suck? But there is still value there, and you don't have to subscribe if you don't want to. But there is some great stuff in there, and I just want to run a list real quick, Joe. Still to come: Flight Sim, Black Ops, Ara History Untold, Stalker 2, Age of Mythology, Creatures of Ava, Indiana Jones, Avowed, and then the expansions for Diablo and Starfield, which I don't actually think are in Game Pass. So maybe I
They're
should
not in
remove
Game
that
Pass,
one.
no, but you'll get a discount.
You will get a discount, and then like what's Frostpunk 2 is coming out, Flintlock's coming out, Kunitsugami's coming out, Dungeons of Hinterberg's coming out, Tachia just launched in there, Towerborn, if that's real, who knows? I'm just kidding. I think
It's real. You've been
playing it, right?
Never mind. No, I have not. Never heard of it.
I do not mean he's been playing it like this week, guys. Just for the record, I'm talking about like alphas. He broke NDA to tell everybody. No, I'm just kidding. 33 Immortals is in there. There's a lot of just good quality stuff. Hollow Knight is a game that I'm told is real. Just throw that out there.
What is up with that game?
I don't know, man.
Just give us a window, man.
I'm not even the biggest fan in the world. Like, Hollow Knight's a great game, and I'm looking forward to Silk Song. But man, the people who are diehard for that game, I feel bad for them, dude, because that's been like years now.
Butch 4969 is in all of our communities, and he swears Hollow Knight 1 is in the top 5 games of all time.
There's quite a big community that do.
I don't get that. I can't
either.
Get on board with that.
I have Hollow Knight
really good.
loaded up.
It is got really good.
Yeah, I've put several hours into it. I've just never beaten it. So I want to see what the fuss is about, man. I really do.
Well, you see,
I'm with Ade, man.
Souls
Will of the Wisp is
Metroidvania.
better than Hollow Knight, in my opinion. Say it again.
What do you think? I made a joke about it being the Dark Souls of Metroidvanias because that's how it was described.
Well, that's what some people kind of describe it as, and I really enjoyed it for that. But I enjoyed Will of the Wisp more.
Say it again, Addy. Ori is better than Hollow Knight. Yes, it is. Both of them. Fully agree.
I want to go back and play Ori 1. I haven't played it since launch.
Those games are just so good.
Yeah, they're great games.
They're just
well, listen, because we have quite a bit more time to fill here, and I think again we're done with the Xbox talk. Xbox fine, everything good.
Yeah, remind me to ask about No Rest for the Wicked later.
Okay, I want you to ask your question about Concord, Luke, to me.
Oh God!
I thought he was going to take us on a trip to St. Louis, but
yeah, that's crazy. Take us to the Arch. All right, hold on.
It's only about 3.5 hours from here if you want to go. You know.
So I had a hard lull the other day when I heard Joe talking about Concord. He's like, "I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it," and I
means a shill.
Yeah, I was like, "Why are you excited about it? We know so little, have seen so little." On this thing, if you like that game, Overwatch 2 is still a very high quality experience that's there, and like the Marvel has a free to play version come up that looks cooler. I just don't quite get what knockoff Guardians doing in this game.
It's knockoff Guardians.
I would disagree about Marvel. I'm more excited for Concord than Marvel,
but you're not.
I don't care about Marvel.
Even when the gameplay I've seen of the Marvel one looks cooler. Now, I am a Marvel guy. I do like superheroes, but I just can't get my head around anybody being like Concord. I don't know what it is you're saying.
Don't mistake my excitement for optimism. Okay. As I always say, when I'm excited for a game, like for example, I'm excited for Wolverine. This is my level of enthusiasm for Wolverine. It's this, right? I'm excited for Concord. This is my level of enthusiasm. Like, until I get the game solely in my hands, there's very few games where I get giddy excited for. Like Elden Ring is one of them. Anything from Software does. But as I'm excited for it, from what I've seen from the previews I've read and gameplay I've seen thus far, it looks good. And it doesn't look like Overwatch. Like I don't think at this very moment, the first beta hasn't gone live yet, but like, I don't see the Overwatch-ness of it. Like I see that like these characters have abilities. Okay. Apex Legends, their characters have abilities. That's not Overwatch. And so I think it's an unfair comparison. Cause to me, it's like, oh, this is a hero shooter in an arena setting, where Overwatch very much was all about that payload. Mm-hmm. This is about a whole slew of different modes that you get to play. Mm-hmm. So like for me, it from what I've seen thus far, it looks like something of like a Crucible meets, a hero
Yeah.
shooter, and
That's
that's
what,
exciting to me.
That's what Hogue said too, because of all people, he's excited for this.
Yeah.
Well,
But
there's
he
your
said,
warning sign, Joe.
Yeah, that's right. He's gonna talk about what's the pirate game? Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones,
Oh
killing me.
shit! Yeah, you're right.
What was I gonna say?
If
Although
Hogue's in my
I'd
camp.
probably rather play Skull and Bones than Sea of Thieves. So,
What is wrong with you? You are outside of your mind.
no,
I'm watching gameplay at Concord right now. I don't see the special,
Okay.
but it is ex Bungie devs, which I don't know what that means anymore, guys.
That's what I was gonna say. It's gonna all come down to that gunplay, and how it feels to play. It looks like it feels good. If it is ex Bungie devs, depending, that's easy to say. It could be 2 devs. It could be 50. Who knows?
Well,
But,
this creative director worked as a co-lead on Destiny 2, the original.
Okay, but I mean, like the gunplay in Destiny's great. Crucible's garbage.
Sure.
So like it's going to come down to gunplay and obviously map design. There's a lot of stuff in multiplayer, right? But if it's an Overwatch clone, I'm actually not going to like it. If it is a hero shooter, but kind of more along the lines of an actual competitive MP experience, just using heroes, then I think I'm going to like it quite a bit.
And that's why, like, I draw the comparisons of Valorant, though the games play totally different. Where it's like, if the abilities are more to like tactical uses rather than ultimates that wipe the floor, then this game really does hold my attention. Because that's the one problem with Overwatch was just like, hey, I'm gonna be Reaper and I'm just gonna sneak into the payload and just do my ultimate and clear the whole group. Not to say Overwatch is bad. I love Overwatch. This was my game of the year when it came out. But like, from what I've seen, I'm excited for it. But it doesn't mean I'm like,
Dark Souls
"Woo."
3 came out that year, so calm down. All right.
Oh, it did, huh?
I just for like a pulse finger.
No,
on the
it still
pulse.
was my game of the year. I played the shit out of Overwatch, man. Like Overwatch is a game I've put hundreds of hours on PlayStation, hundreds of hours on PC. That was my main, all right, for Overwatch. And then I also played a little bit on Xbox.
Why did you call that out?
Because there are these people out there that think like, oh, Joe, you'll be awakened when you play on PC. Bacon thinks that. Daddy thinks that. Jose of the Nerd Chat think that. It's not true.
Don't call him Daddy.
Bacon has convinced Wally and Jose of that. But I have a top NPC. I play on both, and it's not mind-boggling.
Exactly. I'm like, so what? Who gives a shit about like?
It's cool. I like it, but
yeah, it's not like. I don't know. It's not like next gen. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, I see a couple more bushes and things are a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
But it's not worth $3,000.
So
Can I?
by the way, they did sorry, Luke. I was just going to say for anyone listening or watching, it does go live 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific. Obviously, if you're international, 6 p.m. British Standard Time. So, I mean, we're less than 24 hours away from
and
checking it out.
GameFire says something very important here. Concord, please put it up there.
Yep.
Concord has an uphill battle since the state of play. I totally agree with that. Like
Me
this, too. I mean, I don't think this is, as I'm excited, I don't think this is going to succeed. I don't think PlayStation has done a good job promoting this game and showing it in its best light. They've been really weird with it. And
I think this needs to be a PS Plus game.
And I think it will be by the end of this year. So like for me, though I'm excited for it because the pedigree of that team, the game looks fun. I'm not here to tell you that this game's going to be, the next Halo or whatever. It's not. It's a good chance.
The other thing that, I'm with you. And I think the thing we talk about all the time with these types of games launching is, so this is the game. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, because we talked about this on Bigcast. They have the episodic thing they're doing, right? Like every week it's gonna have a story. So kind of like Spartan Ops, And they said they have like a year.
Hey, shut your mouth, Luke.
What did he say? I didn't hear him.
He said, "How did that work out for him?"
Well, I mean, that's kind of where I'm going. Is like, one, if the game doesn't succeed, how invested are they going to be to still continue those things? And two, what is their plan outside of this weekly episode? And we don't even know how deep that is, right? What is their actual live service support plan in place in terms of seasons, characters, maps, content? Because so many games like this launch all the time now, and we've seen hundreds and hundreds of times where they're just not prepared to deliver content at the cadence at which players expect. And just like we were saying,
example.
Yeah, exactly. And as we said 15, 20 minutes ago, when you have the competition where everyone can go off and play the Fortnites, the Sieges, the Apexes that have been working at this for years, it's really, really tough competition to break through. I mean, the gameplay will have to be fantastic, and they will have to deliver content. And that's incredibly hard to do.
Yeah. Really,
and it's not free to play either.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're asking people to invest in, which, for the record, I prefer it being a paid game because you don't get constant new accounts,
right,
spammers, cheaters.
Here you go. Here's Project 2025.
But like, you know how many issues would have been solved in games like Halo Infinite if it wasn't free to play? There's a ton of things. Mm-hmm. But what was I going to say? But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm looking forward to trying. Eric at SG is big shooter guy. He's pumped about it. So we're going to play it this weekend. I'm down to play with anyone who's playing. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Me?
Of course, yeah, let's play.
Yeah, like
Eric into Eric's really good. The three of us will probably roll. Seriously.
Yeah, like I was talking to Kyle on via text earlier. He's like, "Man, I don't know if I like the tweet that you made because to me, like they announced where it's like
you didn't run it by your production team."
Yeah, I didn't run it by the socials team. I didn't run it by the production crew. I really should have. We're a solid unit over here.
You got to do better.
I know. Sorry, but like we were talking about, he's like, you know, to me, and I want to gauge your thoughts on this. This is why I bring it up. Them going on the day before, going, hey, and if you're a PlayStation Plus member, you can play as well right now.
Yes,
is not a good sign.
No. Not after you do that, after you say you can play for pre-orders. Because Eric went out and pre-ordered, I think, multiple copies to make sure we had codes for all of us to play together.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign. So again, I'm excited for it, but I'm a realist about it. The chances are this isn't going to, be the next big competitive shooter thing.
The point I've been trying to make for 10 minutes, and you guys kept cutting me off.
Yeah, go for it.
So anyway, about
is that the gameplay reveal or gameplay dive that IGN did on it, where I went in and looked at gameplay a few minutes ago, only 48,000 views. Next, and I'm like, to me, that's godly, right? Like if XCP had that, like, oh my god. But like, I went and looked at like their other reveals and stuff, and that was really small by comparison to a number of other things that have been out for far less time, or I would argue is less relevant than the next big PlayStation thing. Yeah. And here's the part I want to caveat for all of this, especially to my Xbox brethren. To me, Hellblade is incredible, but we damned it for being a smaller project, or it got condemned for being a smaller project. Is Concord a smaller project? Kind of, I can't tell. Like, I really can't tell, because cinematically it looked very good, but like I don't know what size game like this is supposed to be for PlayStation, because it's the first of its ilk. Yeah. But if it's meant to be the avowed Hellblade size, you best approach it with that standard and scope and the same energy that you approach others in that realm, because I think Hellblade was unfairly judged for the size of game that it was versus what people wanted it to be. And I think the same thing that I ask people to do for Hellblade, which is measure it for what it is, not what you wanted it to be. I hope people go to Concord with that same energy, because I'm not wishing ill on it, but like I'm not drawn to it.
Yeah. And again, realist about it. You're right. Like, the views are low. It's an uphill battle. More downvotes than thumbs up. All that stuff. At the same exact time, I think PlayStation and maybe this team is like, when we get it in people's hands, that's where we get to change the conversation. And I think that's what this beta holds a lot of weight as to how long of a life a game like this has. And so again, I hope it's great. Again, I'm excited for it. Looks fun. But who knows?
Sorry, I'm sitting here trying to look at how big the studio was.
We noticed you weren't listening.
Yeah.
I was looking up Fire Sprite, but it's Fire Walk.
Yeah, it's Fire Walk.
Yeah. So
Did they close Fire? What did they close?
No, they closed some studios at Fire Sprite, and they
Oh.
closed down London studio.
Yeah, the
which is
story of
heartbreaking.
Firesprite I was just reading on Wikipedia was not pretty. Wow.
No,
Firewalk
Okay.
has
So
150
I was
people,
just trying to
says
figure
Sam.
out how big Firewalk is. That's all.
Sam in chat says
Um,
150 people.
150 people.
And I know Sam. He's my best friend.
Best. I mean, I'll take his word
He's-
for it.
Yeah, I believe him.
That's yeah, I mean that, and this is what they've been building, right? That's a pretty big studio for a single game. I mean, they could be working on something else, but it feels like they're all in on this game. So yeah, man, I don't know. That's tough. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm excited to play it.
Yeah.
I don't let, I mean, I think, none of us, the three of us do. We don't let kind of internet stuff, dictate what we're going to enjoy. Like I enjoyed the hell out of Suicide Squad. I talked about that a lot. And, that game is toxic online. So we'll see. By the way, while you were talking about views and like, it didn't seem like a lot of views, just to show you how big Gran Turismo actually is. Literally this week, they streamed a round 1 of the Manufacturers Cup of the GT World Series. So this is people racing in Gran Turismo, right?
Okay.
Has over
Like the
40,000 views this week.
Jesus.
And that's just people watching online racing.
Yeah.
That's
Bunch of nerds.
Good on you.
Is there anything else we'd like to kind of talk about tonight? You want to talk a little bit about Hellblade or
Well,
Hellblade?
Hellblade.
Go for it.
No.
Why were we talking
there
about
was a No
Hellblade?
Rest for the Wicked. We were talking about Moon
there you
Studio
go.
and Ori, and Ori. I was curious, what's going on with No Rest for the Wicked? Because there was a moment where it was hot shit.
Yes.
What's up?
It released in early access.
Mm-hmm.
The problem I see with it as a big ARPG guy, there's not enough content. And so now you're in this weird situation where a studio that is not gigantic, Moon's a decent sized studio. They're not gigantic. They're 100% remote as well, if you didn't know that. And they are releasing updates or making additions. They've done some great quality of life stuff since launch, but the content, it just needs a lot more content. And they, I don't know. I guess the short answer is I don't know if this is early access and now you have this product out there that you're going to add to, and people like me who eat up ARPGs feel like you need to add a lot. Like there's a lot more you need to add here. When is that going to happen? Because development's not fast. They'd already been to produce what's out. They said they've been working for like 6 years. So what's happening? Meanwhile, Diablo 4, games like that are gigantic and they are crushing the live service. It's just content nonstop. We're getting ready to see the expansion next week. And you've got Last Epoch, which is a great ARPG out there. You've got Path of Exile 2, which played in LA is, going to be brilliant. I don't know, man. It feels like starting to feel like they might have jumped the gun a little bit. And it is unique. It doesn't play like Diablo or Path of Exile. It's like a Dark Souls ARPG type thing, but and it's fantastic, but there's just not enough content. And
at the same exact time, they have a problem with their publisher not existing anymore.
Well, Private Division disappeared. I mean, they got crushed.
So I bet a lot of things are in flux at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know. And they're isn't it them? Thomas Mailer, is it their lead? Is like kind of starting to come out as some alt right wing dude.
There was a weird thing
him.
with Moon being toxic a few years ago, and it was the scuttlebutt, not just rumor, but scuttlebutt was that's why Xbox didn't pick up Moon, and like who knows how real that is, right? Like who knows? But it was very well and clear that there was a bad culture within Moon during Ori 2, and the echoes of that happening in Ori 1. Now, what's interesting is I had on Jeremy Gleason, who is the art director for Ori 2, and he worked on Ori 1, and I've reached out a couple times, and maybe he just couldn't get back to me, didn't want to get back to me. Busy, NDAs, could be 1,000 things. But I haven't heard back, and I still am wondering like what's going on, because I feel like we only saw Thomas Mueller, and then kind of things around him were negative and toxic. And Gennady Carroll, I still don't know how to say that gentleman's name. Gennady. He's one of the head guys at Moon, and then no Rest of the Wicked's gone silent. So I'm sitting here praising Ori's 1 and 2, and I think they are elite level games. I just wondered how No Rest for the Wicked was doing because as a non-PC guy, I didn't go in.
No, yeah. And I'm someone who's very excited to play it when it eventually comes to console. But when you say it took 6 years to get to this point, geez, I don't know when it'll land on my console, you know?
Yeah, and I just looked, right? They're adding the Crucible on July 25th, which is, you call it the Crucible. I'm assuming you mean PvP, which I don't know. I think that would be the wrong move, just my opinion. And they said, we can't wait to share more on our updated early access roadmap in the near future. This was 2 weeks ago.
That screams delay. That screams delay.
Yeah. So like, I loved what I played. I was really addicted to it. I put in quite a few hours, 30 plus, 40 plus, like the week it came out. But it just, there's not enough depth there. There's just not.
And it does appear they appear to be the debate me bros type. But and that's the thing. I'm very good at like separating the art from the artist. So it's
me too. I mean, I'm playing the game.
Like, yeah, exactly. If the game speaks to me, I don't really give a shit. You know, we still love Thriller. You know what I mean?
Jesus,
come on, we're not gonna dance to Smooth Criminal. Come on, we know.
Addy says the real truth. Ains is the real vampire. He doesn't sleep. That's true. Every time a game comes out, and Ains is like, "I'm reviewing it. I just didn't sleep that week." It's like, yeah we know. We know.
I bet your wife misses you. Your family wants to see you, you know?
Probably not.
No, that's true.
The worst I ever did, I think, was Deathloop. We got that review embargo was Monday morning, got the code Friday afternoon, and I put 40 hours in Friday night to Sunday night to do it.
Yeah.
I literally just played. I mean, yeah, that's all I did.
Sam says, "Never meet your heroes." Ain't that the truth? I met
very true.
Trust me, I've met a lot of my heroes growing up. Don't do it.
Who was the most disappointing?
Can you say?
He's like, OJ.
That's a good question. Oh,
what
you said OJ.
Can you hold these close for me? I gotta go.
Oh my god. I don't know, honestly. I know one I will call out that was disappointing was Lou Ferrigno. I expected him to be cooler. He was not.
Really?
Yeah. You would think he would be cool, Mr. Hulk, I at a convention, just wanted to say hi to him, wouldn't even talk to you unless you were buying a picture and getting an autograph. Like,
well,
no.
He is deaf. He can't hear you.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Hi. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who else. I will tell you that
this guy's just ignoring me. Mr. Ferrigno, Hulk!
Oh, man. I will tell you who was amazing to me was Jen Taylor, Cortana's voice. She is like the nicest, sweetest person. She was fantastic. Yeah, great to meet her.
That's cool. Throw your questions in chat, guys. We'll take a few of them. Addy asked us, what's the PlayStation roadmap look like? Concord.
Hold on, I got this one.
No.
That's such a good picture.
Found it.
Yeah, we found it. No, and that's the thing we need to see. So I would assume by the time the Tokyo Game Show happens, we're going to see PlayStation's roadmap for 2025.
And the Pro.
In the Pro. That's why it's there. I mean, that's why they're there. They're probably going to show it in some glass case where, people can take photos of it and whatnot.
Hey, that video did real well on my YouTube.
No, but I mean, and I know it did well. People want to see it, and that's why it's there. I'm not shaming you this time.
The consoles at the Xbox thing. The best part is, go ahead.
I was like, why am I doing this? Because
me too. I did the same thing.
Yeah.
But it did 12,000 views, which for me is really nice. Like XCP's not a huge channel, guys. I was ecstatic. I was like, look at that. But all I did was,
yeah. The funniest thing. So no joke, it's like concrete tile on the roof of that place. They had the three consoles lined up. Right. There's a guy standing over here. I went to take a picture. The guy stepped forward in front of me. He's like, stand behind the line, please. And I was like, what line? And it was literally just a concrete tile line they didn't want you to pass. I wasn't even And they're in a glass case. I'm like, what do you think I'm doing here?
I'm convinced that guy didn't work there and was messing with you because, like, when I was there, nobody did that to me. You can look at my video. I'm like right up on the glass, and like,
he must not have been paying attention because he did it to the girl in front of me too. Because she looked at me and I looked at her. I was like, "The fuck."
Yeah. And gotta tell you, they didn't look different. I was like, here it is, guys.
No, the Galaxy one looks cool.
Really, I think it looks so. I hate the little glitter on it.
No, you see it in person. It's cool, man, and the blue is really nice. Yeah, it does look cool. But
it's better than those dumb wraps that don't exist. Got it.
For the Xbox. I don't know. I like the wraps are a good idea.
The wraps were a great idea. They didn't make anything but the camo and the Starfield.
Starfield, which I have on right now. The Starfield one's great, but where are the rest of the games?
You know, maybe it's because there are no games for X. They didn't do a Hellblade one, which they should have. Hellblade would have looked dope.
Why wouldn't you do Diablo?
They should have done Diablo. They should have done Hellblade. They should have done COD. Like, let's go.
Even if it's
maybe they will do COD.
Hellblade would have looked cool though, with those symbols and stuff.
Sure,
that would have been cool. And Diablo would have been the same premise, like red and symbolic, demonic.
Put Lilith on the side of it. Come on, man. Yeah. It's like the PS5. You create removable plates and then you barely make any. Give me some good removable plates.
Yep.
Anyway, we're just ranting now. Astrobot. That's all I need on my PlayStation, by the way.
God bless, Astrobot. Dude. Astrobot is
that this
I'm
year?
Very excited. Yeah.
September. Right after
September 6th.
Pumped.
Yeah.
I'll be playing Starfield's expansion.
Oh, look at you. The 7 people are going to really enjoy that.
Astrobot will still play better.
Yeah, it will. Astrobot looks so good.
It looks so good.
Like, here's the Astrobot looks so good, and it's the multiple iterations of it. And yet Xbox fans continue to beg, can we have something like this? Something. And
don't get me started.
All this heritage here, and like, I don't care if it's Banjo or not. I'm just saying, you got Xbox.
Ains knows a whole lot about heritage. Let me tell you.
He did tell me about that.
He has a whole project about it.
Like, why are we not doing something with these Xbox legacy friends? Like, put them in an Astrobot game. Let me hop around an old OG Xbox. Let me hop around what was Project Keystone. I'll kick a Kinect. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Alejandro says in the chat, PS5 has had the most exclusives out this year, but because it's not a first party, people are like not counting them. I mean, they've had quite a few, right? So Helldivers is done.
PC.
Oh no. Funny joke. Helldivers did exceptional, right? Even though, Paul Tassi will make his headline, it still is the fastest selling PlayStation game of all time. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out. It didn't light the world on fire. Now we have Concord coming out. We have a few PC releases as well, and Astrobot and Lego. All of those are great games, or hopefully the rest are great games. But they are not your Spider-Man that is going to, take the oxygen out of the room. I think Hellblade is the outlier in that example, whereas like a game like Stellar Blade. Helldivers. Did I say Hellblade?
You did, but I do the same thing. I was just curious.
Same. Like a game like Stellar Blade that came out, and I really enjoyed it. Oh, Rise of Ronin also. Sorry. There's been a lot of games, but like Stellar Blade came out, I loved it, and it sold well, but well is for that game 1 million units. So like you don't have the 10 million unit seller that's going to take all the news cycles. You have a bunch of smaller titles, XDev titles that are going to carry you through this year until, 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Xbox is loaded in the second half of the year more than the first half. So,
I sign the Stellar Blade petition. This comes from the Xbox expansion pass. Listen, just because I don't want
sponsors.
Yeah, I don't want the woke DEI in my video games, and I want to see all the boobies. Okay. They have my sword and shield on that petition. So
I haven't gotten those idiots. I have 2 topics for you guys that I wanted to run by you. First, has any franchise ever been so good and yet so condemned to failure than the Horizon series? Because that thing just gets kicked in the nuts every time. It doesn't matter how good it is. But it just gets kicked in the nuts.
He means their releases. Yeah.
And then the other one was, did you guys see these knuckle draggers that are like, we're making the real game awards without our DEI inclusion? And you go look at the panel of people that's on the board. It's exactly what you look like. Gamer Gators 5.0. We're going to make our own awards. I was watching Khalif Adams' show this week. Shout out to Khalif Adams and Spawn on me. Great
That was
human
awesome.
being.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
We got to meet him in LA too. Great.
Yeah, he's so cool. But I'm watching, and like I'm in his chat. I was like, and I asked him, and like humble brag, Khalif spotlighted my comment. But I was like, imagine being the developer that wins the awards for those like anti-woke, we're the real game awards. It's like, can you take us off that, please? Like, we didn't want to win this. We don't
lose my number.
Dude, imagine. Well, first of all, nothing's ever going to come from this. You know, they're just grifting people. But even if it did, it'd be hilarious if that actually happened. Like the developers, like, we reject this award. We don't want it.
You're our game of the year. We don't want to be.
I know.
We don't want this.
We're good. No, I'm
a bunch of weirdos, man. What's with these people?
Honestly, it's one of the reasons why, like, I left social media for a good week. Is like,
you made it 3 days, guys.
I made it 4.5. God damn it, and I'm proud of it. No, I literally logged back in and it was like the Xbox price hike, and I'm like, okay, I'm out again. But it's like this constant like tug of war for what some would think is like the soul of the video games industry by people that like absolutely either are so ignorant to how this industry works, whether it's willful. I think the majority of it's willful ignorance. And then like other people that I'm like, can you just stop? Like, guys, stop giving them oxygen. Like, stop talking to them. Like the best course of action is just not taking any. Like, there are always going to be mean comments on YouTube. There's always going to be shitty comments on social media. Just get off of it. Stop. Don't offer to fight them. Like, stop the performative bullshit, because it's also performative bullshit on their end. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. Get off social media. It's not real. These people are not real. They would never say it to your face because they're all cowards. They're all cowards. And I know like a lot, like some of those grifters out there, I've heard from like people on the back end of just like, man, what happened? It's not like they're like, they used to be like really chill and now they're, you know, saying the earth's flat and they got a worm that's eating their brain. It's like
I don't know where they are online to be fed this, you know, and to buy it hook, line, and sinker, like all the nonsense. Well, and then like I know it's a bunch of it because like yeah, there is like a sense of like there's a part of this industry that does feel like the cool kids club, right? And you're here part of this club if you hit certain check marks, right, of being the cool kid. But at the same exact time, that's not real. That's something we've made up in our head. And these people project something that's not real, present it as truth. And because people don't know how this industry actually works, they buy it. So like truly people thought like Stellar Blade's a failure because it sold 1 million units, which is a great number to hit. And you go, well, what was their projected number that they were going to hit? They don't have an answer to that, right? Mm-hmm. You know, they're like, oh, they made some of the clothing less revealing. Well, here's why, because they made $1 million deal with some diversity group. It's like, that's not how any of this works, dude. Mm-hmm. And you buy into it because your own preconceived notions and you know, how you think, or your own like worldviews. Mm-hmm. It's not based off fact. No one's asking the hard questions for themselves. They just say shit out loud without really thinking it through and then stating it as fact.
Yep.
You know? And that's why all these grifters get a following. All of them. If you just stop talking to them and stop engaging with them, the platform would stop feeding their content. So stop engaging with them.
Let's just stop talking to Joe and see what happens.
Exactly. You know?
Yeah, it's
I'm not kidding around, folks.
It's exhausting.
I'm not joking.
Horizon.
Where am I?
God.
Joshua, what's your thoughts on the Horizon?
Horizon is one of those. I look at Horizon like I bounced out. I couldn't do Horizon Zero Dawn and then Forbidden West didn't.
I love Allie. I think she's a good hero.
Oh my god! But like that friend, like
I'm not joking around.
Would you shut up? But the garbage that's surrounding the Lego Horizon, it's like, man, I don't think anybody's jumping in on that. How many people are doing it?
Wait, they're hating the Lego Aloy because they can't fuck it? Like, what do you mean?
I just
the
mean,
Lego
like,
figure's not hot enough?
Oh, God. I'm talking about the premise. Like, there's all this controversy is not the right word, but discourse is the right word about Horizon and it going onto Switch, but not Xbox, going here. And they talk about wanting to push the system, but it's going to Switch, and it just doesn't make sense. But I feel like the Horizon franchise just gets kicked every time. Like the PSVR didn't do anything.
It's a good game too.
To move units. Regardless, it didn't move units and people don't talk about it. Forbidden West, Elden Ring, for Zero Dawn, Breath of the Wild, like it just, and then the show just got either at the very least on pause because the person they hired was not a good human being, allegedly. And like maybe that's true. I'm just saying allegedly because I don't know. But like if he's not a good human being, nobody should be in that environment.
Cancel culture strikes again.
But like Horizon just keeps getting kicked. You know?
Yeah, no, and like I love that world so much, and again, Horizon's the reason why the trophy room exists. So you're right, maybe it has what's coming to it. Nope, definitely a Horizon.
Oh, cool.
So like, you know, it has a special place in my heart, and yeah, it always has like, you know, it always falls into the dumb controversies around like, you know, did they make her fat or whatever. And like, yeah, they made her like ugly or whatever. I'm like, you know, Aloy in the first game, 16, Dr. Disrespect, maybe relax. So it's just like, and always, first off, always those people that are like, let's protect the kids, always know the age of consent in every state and country and every Romeo and Juliet law down to the definition in tears, you know? But like I feel bad for it too because like every time it comes out, people are like, all right, so Elden Ring 2 is coming out then, or like the show, which I would be really hyped for, that being on ice. It sucks because again, I think the world's really the world's ripe for that story to be told.
But you made it like expensive. Make that animated. Just like do animated. Don't try and do special realistic effects for that.
I mean, look at Arcane. Arcane is gorgeous. That show is beautiful, and it's
animated would have been good.
It's animated. Who cares? It's a beautiful medium.
Let me hit up Sam again. Okay. He's being super generous tonight.
Nice.
Sam, $10 super chat. More cash for the kids. You rock, Sam. Thank you so much, man.
You're awesome.
Appreciate you. After Big Cast this weekend, I will tally it all up and make the donation. I always make the donation in the Season Gaming Community's name, which is fun as well to do. So thank you very much.
Elden Ring Legos, let's go.
What?
I mean, that's what Mr. Too Opinionated said.
Is he just saying that, or is there actually something going on?
I doubt they would be. I mean,
a whole new way for Ains to lure him in.
Come on.
Look at that helmet up there, Ains. Look at Mesmer.
I can look at it. I can look at it in my own room. If I want to.
Isn't it beautiful? Wasn't that game just everything?
And it's like it's really well made. It's actually nicer than the Millennial one. Yeah, it's significantly nicer. So it's cool. I can't wait till we've been waiting. Me and Mo been waiting on statues for like 2 years. Pure Arts announced them like 2.5 years ago, and we still haven't seen any. So
I was gonna say they announced it. Do we know what they look like? We got any models?
They haven't shown a single one. They just said Pure Arts statues coming, and they've never shown anything.
Are you guys gonna be insufferable around Game of the Year time about Airdrie?
It's already decided.
Yeah,
done.
It's not a game. It's an expansion.
It's bigger than most games. It's done.
Exactly.
You know what? Never mind.
That's my argument. It takes 40 hours. Like the game is huge. They could have said Elden Ring 2, and I think we would have been happy with it.
Yeah, I have nearly 70 hours in it.
Yeah.
Damn it, Mr. Too Opinionated. It's a joke. How dare you, sir?
Even if the last boss is utterly bullshit. I hated him so much.
You know who didn't show up? The only one who didn't show up for the round table, who said he was really excited for the round table loop?
I noticed that. Don't think I didn't notice it. And I was mad at him too.
Yeah.
I have a show that I do called The Trophy Room. I don't know if you guys know this.
You should have told Kyle to boot up an hour earlier.
No, it wasn't going to work that way,
Damn it,
honestly,
Kyle.
because I was watching. So it was my best friend's birthday actually today, but celebrating it yesterday, and I took her to A Quiet Place, the prequel. I forget the whatever amazing movie, but by the time we got there,
Day one.
day one, thank you. But by the time like I got back home, it was like 7:10. I still had to write the notes, so it wouldn't have came out.
Hey, you should have run that by the production team.
Here, a
I should have.
Here, a lot of excuses. A lot of
I
excuses.
know.
But anyway,
All right, boys.
All
let's
right,
wrap it up.
we're just trailing off at this point, boys.
That's
Let's
true.
wrap it up, fellas. It was good to
I
hang
got
out with you guys.
Bellatra to play.
Speaking of
Lords of
Game
the
of the
Fallen.
Year contenders,
Have you been playing Bellatra, Ains?
since launch, yeah.
How many hours you got in it?
Probably not as many as you. I don't know. I'd have to look, but it's all
I have 69 hours in it.
69. That's definitely
Yeah.
more than me. Yeah, it's
Love
incredible.
Bellatra.
It is unbelievably good. Talk about a well-designed game, like through and through. I was actually talking on the Discord the other day because there's a game coming out called, I think, something in Degenerates. It's another card kind of base game, and I was like, with
Okay.
the success of Bellatra, we're probably going to start to see a lot of card-based kind of roguelites and those types of things because it's the success.
I'm going to get that physical edition. And when it comes
Me
to
too.
phone,
Me too.
because that's where I've been mostly playing it. I've been playing it on the portal at work when I get free time.
Nice.
It's nice. Yeah,
Nice.
it's nice.
Dungeons
I'm ready
and
to get on
Degenerates,
out of here,
that's it.
guys. I'm sorry.
You're good.
the good word.
Go, Luke. You kick us off.
Yes, I will just say you can find me on the Xbox Expansion Pass. Look for it on all your podcast services. If you are willing to check it out, like, subscribe it, all that other stuff, it'd be an absolute honor to have you guys there. So the Xbox Expansion Pass. Thank you.
Before I say, I just want to say, chat, you've been great tonight. Good to
Big
see
time.
all the regulars back hanging out with us over. I think we hit 45 concurrent or something, which
Look at us.
considering we podcast never, that's great. So thank you so much. Thank you for the generosity for Extra Life too. I sincerely appreciate it. I'll be sure to share a bunch of pictures next weekend with the event, and it's going to be my first time going to this big thing, so
Nice.
it'll be cool. For me, same thing as always. Season Gaming, I'm Ains everywhere, and the name is unique, so you can find me. Bitcast will be back this Sunday, probably with a guest. Hogue is still traveling, and then we actually have Bitcast 300 coming up. So stay tuned for the plans for that here in the next few days. We'll probably talk about it on Sunday a little bit too, but that'll be a lot of fun as well. So good times.
Episode 400 of the Trophy Room is going to be on Halloween.
Oh, cool.
I have no idea how we're going to land that. So I'm very interested to see how you guys do it for episode 300.
We slacked on our big grandiose plan, so I'm piecing it together as I speak.
I always do that. I'm awful at celebrating any anniversary.
Yeah.
Really bad. Anyway, you can find me over
Didn't
at
have a
Mr.
girlfriend
Badbit.
in months, so don't worry, guys.
That's right. Oh, man.
He's
Your mother still texts me back. What are you talking about, Luke?
Hey, my mama.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I call you something else. The safe word is at Mr. Badbit over on X.
I thought it was Zendaya.
Oh God, I love the voice. You can find the show The Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players, where each and every Wednesday night over at youtube.com/PS Trophy Room at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Me and my best friend Kyle talk about the latest and greatest in all things PlayStation. And you can find the Trophy Room on all your podcast services, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Please rate us 5 stars on there. It really does help us out. It's a little serotonin boost as well. We love reading all the nice comments. If you could do that, that'd be great. And also just give money to all the beautiful kids. That's gonna be great.
Money for the kids, money for a new headset for Joe. We're in good shape.
Yeah, man, I definitely need that. Oh, right, I do the outro again. Right. Everybody keep casting a co-op. Boop 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 boop.